with all the stress in the world, I have two pieces of advice. Come to Guyana and worry less, fish more.
Oh my gosh.
Why Guyana? Why not Guyana? It's one of the distant corners of the entire Amazon system. You are so far out in the jungle when you head up those rivers. You couldn't get farther from modern society. I don't know that I've ever felt as remote as I did on some of the backwater fishery off of that river. The size of the fish, the sheer number of wildlife, different animals, different birds, monkeys screaming at you. Tail walking Arapaima. I mean, if you've got to go somewhere, why not Guyana? So putting this trip together doesn't come together overnight. And Matt and I, we're blessed to get invited on many trips, but we have to be careful with where we go. We both have families, we both have loved ones. We don't want to get ourselves in a situation. So we like to do some research and just be smart about it. And the group that we went with, group of handpicked friends, close friends, people in the industry that have the same passion as we do. Obviously, Matt and I, our good buddy Kobe.
Kobe's a really close friend to both Matt and I. He's a smallmouth hammer from up north, but can catch anything that swims. It was a childhood dream of his to catch an Arapaima, and he successfully completed that goal. Kobe took the role of videographer for most of this trip. It's always tough when you have to put down the fishing rod and pick up the camera. But he's a remarkable photographer and videographer. We had complete confidence in him to document this trip of a lifetime, and he did an amazing job. He caught his Arapaima and several bonus species along the way.
Beautiful. Okay. Let it breathe and then let it go.
Yeah.
Dude! Thank you.
Aaron Lewis is a rock star. He's the lead singer of the band Stained. He's a country singer, a musician, and a die-hard fisherman. He's been a friend of ours for a long time, and we've had some amazing fishing trips together through the years. Aaron's a die-hard outdoorsman. He fishes for everything that swims in both freshwater and saltwater. Chasing giant Arapaima and big peacocks was right up his alley.
It's medium heavy and a botanium.
All right, I got one over here too.
Do you?
Yeah.
John's another great friend of ours. I worked closely with and around John for several years, and we became close friends. He's another avid outdoorsman, whether it's chasing monster mule deer in Montana or giant yellowfin tuna south of the border, he's always up for an adventure. He wanted to go experience the Amazon, and he caught a giant Arapaima.
Two, I got a double. Oh my goodness.
Simon has been a friend of ours for a very long time. He's the owner of River to Sea and an amazing lure designer. Baits like the Whopper Plopper, the S-Waver. Simon's a great guy, loves fishing, and was up for the challenge to chase Arapaima in the Amazon. Josh St. John owns JSJ Baits, makes some great swim baits. He's an avid fisherman. Josh is just someone that's fun to be around. We've known him for many, many years. He's went on some amazing trips with us in the past, and we always have a great time fishing and hanging out with Josh. He was up for the challenge. When we talked to him, told him we were going to the Amazon chasing Arapaimas, he was one of the first guys in, and he caught some giants.
Yeah.
Giant Arapaima.
Craig is one of Matt's longest clients. Back before we moved back east, Matt was still guiding. He was a full-time guide in Northern California, and Craig went on several trips with Matt, and again was up for the challenge to chase Arapaima in the Amazon.
Just going on a trip like this, the actual act of getting to these places can be half of the experience. For us, it was actually a pretty painless journey. The entire group met up in Miami. We came in over a couple of days, everyone met in Miami, and then from there, we flew to South America. We landed in Georgetown, Guyana. We got into Georgetown in the middle of the night. And if memory serves me right, it was a Friday night because that place was happening. We landed in this little airport, loaded into vans, and headed into the city of Georgetown. There were people dancing in the streets. We passed a car on fire. I mean, you talk culture shock. That place was hopping when we arrived. But we got into our hotel. The hotel was clean, beautiful, comfortable. We actually got a pretty decent night's sleep. Then from there, we loaded into the little planes. Getting to Georgetown, that's no different than a flight around the US. But now you're talking about getting into a little puddle jumper and just flying out over jungle. Just jungle as far as you can see. You've got clouds, you've got green, and you've got these little tiny rivers snaking through it. Only those rivers, they're not actually little tiny. These are giant rivers, but they're so small because that place is so vast. We flew for quite a while through the jungle, and the entire time you're thinking, I hope this guy knows where he's going. You can't even see the ground. The trees are that thick. There's nothing but tree tops the entire time you're in the air. And then all of a sudden, we banked a big corner, and you see the dirt landing strip. They've cut a track out in the middle, truly the middle of nowhere. Hours and hours and hours from anywhere. And there's a dirt strip and a little tiny village. We banked that corner and dropped right in on that dirt track. It was awesome. The entire village came out. There were kids running around in traditional garb. Everyone came out. All the elders were there. Everybody was there just for a group of guys showing up in the jungle to catch some fish. And as soon as we landed in this village, it was go time. I mean, maybe you had enough time to take a picture or drink some water, but before you knew it, you were sitting in a little tiny aluminum boat. They divvied us up, put us into a bunch of boats, loaded up all our gear, and we're not little guys. There's a bunch of big boys going on this trip. So you got a bunch of big guys, you've got a ton of equipment, you've got a ton of fishing gear. We're all tackle junkies. These boats are loaded down. And next thing you know, we're headed upriver. And you've already left the US the day before, flown into South America, spent the night, got on a puddle jumper, flown out through the jungle, and now all of a sudden you find yourself on the river and you're still only partway to your destination. We were in these little aluminum boats cruising upriver for a few hours. It took quite a while to get to the actual, it's not even a village, but the little outpost that they've created. But when we pulled in there, it's hours and hours of just trees going by. Water flowing, trees going by, fish jumping. You come around a corner and there's huts sitting up on the riverbank. And that's home. That's the place. On arrival, you're thinking, where am I? How did I end up here? 3 days later, you're coming around the corner, you're seeing that same place, and you're like, I'm home. I'm good. Let's get some rest. Let's do it again. It's amazing how that perspective changed so quickly. But that first look, you're just thinking, we're actually here. Let's do this. So that's when we arrived. We got to meet the staff. And by staff, I mean a group of guys from the village that came up by boat. And these are jungle guys. They have grown up here. We're fishing their ponds. We're fishing their river. This is their jungle. They live and breathe it every single day of their entire life. And they're letting us come in and fish for their fish. It is wild. The people were amazing. One of the great things about Guyana is they all speak English, which makes the transition so seamless. if you're going to travel outside the US for the first time, that alone makes it so much easier. You don't feel completely detached, completely alone. You could talk to anybody at any time. That journey just to get there was wild.
We pull up to the little sandy beach, and they greet us. I think they even had like washcloths and stuff for us to wipe our faces, and Faye and the ladies there working at the base camp are all part of the village. This is their deal. They're the ones that allow us to come in and fish for these Arapaima with artificials. So they greet us. We pick like our huts, and that's what they were. They're literally huts. There's no windows. There's no doors. They're made out of stuff from the jungle. We got these beds, and they were comfortable, and they have netting over it. I'll never forget it. I walked in, and I don't know if I've ever told Matt this, but we're sharing a hut, and he's got his bed, and I got my bed, and the first thing I look at is the netting over the beds. I'm like, that one has holes in it. I'm gonna pick this one. Experience was overwhelming. You know, you realize you're not on top of the food chain. You are completely out of your element, and I love that. That was so cool. Until about midnight. About midnight, I got woke up to. It sounded like a horror movie. It was howler monkeys that had come right up to our hut and just started screaming. And here I wake up to this screaming. I'll never forget it. I mean, I've tried to tell my wife, I've tried to tell people that have I can't explain it well enough, but the screaming of howler monkeys in the middle of the jungle with the doors open, it's pitch black, you can't see anything. You'll remember that for the rest of your life.
The guides in this place are amazing. It's a handful of guys from Apothecary Village. They live there. You are literally in their backyard. Now, you might be 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 miles upriver from their backyard, but it's theirs. This village owns that land. They're awesome. They speak English. Most of them were funny, but you want to talk about an amazing group of guys. You're out there fishing. These guys they need a paddle. They carve a paddle while you're fishing. They want to hunt. You're trying to fish, and they disappear in the woods chasing after whatever animal that was that just ran by. I mean, these are jungle people. they can turn right around, speak to you in clear English, help you line up a cast. They know exactly what to do when you're hooked up with the fish of a lifetime. It was awesome to watch these guys work. And you're talking no shirt and barefoot, and that guy is 100 times more prepared than I will be in that jungle with all the gear if I had 10 years to practice. It's amazing.
So there's so much going on more than just hooking a giant fish. You know, when you're down there thousands of miles away from home, you're out of your element. You're with these guides, these villagers, these guides that are with you. This is their life. And fishing is kind of a universal language, right? You could see the passion they had for it. They could sense the passion we had for it. And these guys are very, very good at their job.
Every morning leaving our base camp, we headed deeper and deeper into the Amazon. It was amazing. We didn't know which way we were headed on the river. All we knew was it was going to be an adventure. We ran those little aluminum boats for hours, sometimes up and down Class 3 and 4 whitewater rapids.
Porpoising. Holy shoot. Wow.
We were searching for special backwater lakes that were created during the high water levels from the rainy season. As we pulled up to the banks of the main river, this is where we knew the hard work was going to start. With the help of our guides, we carried our boats through the jungle. Sometimes we had to carve our own path through the dense brush. Exploring the Amazon on foot was amazing. Every step revealed more and more of its vastness. Despite my extensive experience in the backwoods, there was something captivating about the Amazon's auditory landscape. The birds, the monkeys, the insects, everything, all the sounds around us. The Amazon is alive.
Your food, your lunch. Oh, the lunch is... It's so close. We keep it pinned.
The first Arapaima that I saw clear water was a small one.
Oh, I lost them. Rod down. Let me get the front, bud. Don't do that. Jeez.
The violence when they come up and they head shake, even a small fish, a 4-footer, when that thing came up to thrash and that head was going back and forth by 3 feet, and you hear that bait slamming on both sides, it's incredible. Again, the power, just how much power that fish has. The first big one I saw, it was Tim's. I'm not going to forget that.
No way. Just try. Don't bring it close.
Oh my gosh. Coming up.
If you want to test your equipment, go find an Arapaima. Go to the jungle. Tie into any fish in the jungle and you will test your equipment. I have never been on a trip where more gear was destroyed in one round. I'm very thankful to say I did not break a rod on this trip. My gear made it. But if my tally's right, I believe 8 rods got broken by fish on this trip. And I'm not talking like a fish popping a rod. I'm talking below the reel, the entire handle just buckling under load from a giant Arapaima coming up and thrashing, rods snapping in half, rods exploding into 4 or 5 pieces. We were prepared for these fish. We changed out hardware. We spent night after night after night upgrading split hooks, upgrading hooks, putting on 4X hooks, putting on 6X hooks. And even at that, you'd get these lures back, hook points just turned out. Baits that just have holes literally punched in the side of them. These fish have teeth. And I'm not talking the kind of teeth where, oh, you don't want to lip them. I'm talking the kinds of teeth where that bait goes in there and those fish close up and they literally just puncture holes through that lure. There's no hooking those fish. You can't set the hook. They have completely penetrated the bait and just have it locked up. I have never seen more gear get destroyed than watching what these fish could do for the handful of days we were in that jungle.
I'm not there yet. I'm still putting my hooks.
What's it like to get bit by an Arapaima? I haven't been struck by lightning, but I would think that it's like that. Now, not everyone. There were a couple that were a little sneaky, but most of them, you don't get bit nonstop. See, these bites are spread out. Sometimes they're an hour or 2 hours apart. Sometimes they're 2 days apart. You are working to catch these fish on artificials. Most people don't target them on artificials. We had to go here specifically to do it with artificials. So when that bite comes, your mind could be anywhere. You know, it's been a while since you've been bit and you're just going through the motions. And then all of a sudden, some of them hit so hard that you hear it out in the water. You actually hear that impact. It's unlike anything else. That rod, if you're reeling and that rod's loaded up, when they hit, that rod is whiplashing just from the impact of the strike. I don't think there's anything else like that. I've got to imagine it's like lightning. It hits that hard.
Holy crap. Coming up, coming up. He's gonna jump again, I think. Way tight. No, he's turning, he's turning. Oh. He's right under you. There he goes, he's running. Jump, jump. Did he take a drag in the air? He's right here. coming to you. Coming right at you. You went way out. Get back to the drag rock. I thought he was snake because I just couldn't move him. Once this is over, can you get my gloves out? Yep. Right between you. There. Okay. Oh my god, you did it! Oh my god, look at that fish! Oh, thank you, man. They also open.
Holding an Arapaima, that's a different experience. Now there's two different experiences there. When it's going right, it's crazy. I mean, when you hold those giants, and it's everything you can do to wrap your arms underneath them just to get to the other side, and those scales that are laying up against you are that big, and you're looking at that telltale red that's on some of those fish. I mean, you did it. You've done what you came here to do. Now on the flip side, sometimes you get a hold of those fish, and we came prepared. You know, we're wearing the right gloves to try and hold these fish, to get a good grip on them. I've got AFTCO gloves on, and what you do is you reach over and you reach under, and you grab the fin on the other side, and that fin is like a bone, and you just kind of lock it, and that's what you try to hold on to. And you're there with the guides, right? You're this deep in water with Lord knows what, well, you know what, right? There's caiman in there, there's piranha everywhere, there's Arapaima everywhere, there's all sorts of things in that water. But you're there with the guides, you're chest deep in the water, you're holding your fish, and they're like, okay, you got to hold on it, because they're going to back away and let you hold your fish that you caught. And you're thinking, like, you're holding with everything you've got. Yeah, I'm good, I've got it. And the second they let go, and that thing starts to pull, you don't got it. The amount of force, when those things do that head shake, that thing you saw out in the water, that blew your mind, when they do that while you're doing everything you can to hold on, you're a rag doll. Trying to hold on to these fish. It's wild. This stick right here, it can tell a story. My biggest Arapaima, it ate the gantarelle. When they eat these baits, they don't sort of eat these baits. I mean, I told you it feels like getting hit by lightning. That jolt, they gulp that thing down. And these fish, they have this long throat, and the back of their throat just crushes. And you can feel while you're fighting those fish, if they're digging deep, if they're not up thrashing, if they're digging deep, you can feel them actually crushing on that bait. Some of our baits, it's like sandpaper. They just ground the finish off the bait, and that was with their throat. This specific bait was so far down that Arapaima's throat, it just swallowed it. These guys are up to here, the guides. You've got one guy controlling the fish. You've got me holding its body as if that's going to do anything. And then you've got one guy this deep in there trying to get the lure out. And they're being careful. They're taking care of these fish. You talk about ingenuity. Next thing you know, somebody's climbing around in the bushes and out comes this. What is that? Well, of course, it's a hook remover. They just quick fabbed a hook remover.
Lots of fish bits coming in. That big old fish.
And now they're this deep in this fish's mouth. They've got that stick down in that throat, and they're using it. You can see the bent out hooks. They've got that thing wedged in there, and they're popping the hook points out of that throat, and out comes a perfect lure, and you've got a fish that's doing just fine.
Great job. That's okay.
The ingenuity of these guides is amazing. You're going from, I mean, for me, a situation I can't come back from. I mean, what am I supposed to do? I can't get that lure out of there. They just do what it takes. All of a sudden, you've got a freed lure, you've got a makeshift hook remover, and you've got an Arapaima that you bring them up and you hold them until they take a gulp of air. They're air breathers. You sit there and you hold your fish, and when she takes that big gulp, she opens up and gulps that air. You know she's going to be good. You lower them down in the water and you wait, and then it's not this explosive escape. It's not like when you land them. These fish own that place, and they know it. When you go to turn her loose, she just
Come back around? Yeah.
just disappears out into the black water.
Awesome. Yeah. Tony. Thank you.
We embarked on this journey to the Amazon with anxiousness, uncertainty, and hope. Anxious. We were anxious to experience what we've only ever seen in magazines or on TV. Uncertain. We were uncertain of a lot of things, honestly. This only added to our excitement and anticipation. Hope. We'd hoped to catch the fish of a lifetime and return home safely to share our story with our friends, loved ones, and you. As kids and young adults, we'd all read or heard stories about the Amazon and the secrets it kept. The Amazon is challenging. It challenged our situational awareness. It challenged our mental strength, our physical strength, and it challenged our gear. One thing is certain. The men and women of Apateri Village, are not just strong, courageous, and resilient, but also admirable and worthy of our respect. The vastness of the Amazon is not something to be beaten or conquered, but embraced and respected. We entered the Amazon filled with anticipation and hope. The Amazon left us with broken gear, cuts and wounds, completed goals, accomplished dreams, stronger friendships, and a strong desire to return.